What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the interwebs? It is I, Dark Ninja 13 and welcome to the first ever, the premiere episode of our new show, Zero Ninja Talks. A show where Zero, which you just heard, and Ninja talk. Now in this series, we will be doing one topic per video. And may I mind you, this is an unscripted series, so we're gonna flub up. Isn't that right?
A lot of flubbing.
Just flubber all up in your face.
Oh, man, you took the flubber from me.
I just took it right out of your grip. Alright.
Let's get to the point.
Exactly. So, the topic in this episode, I will be asking Zero a question. And that question is, Final Fantasy VII. How do I effectively level up Aerith to make it through to the end of the game? No, ladies and gentlemen, that is not my question. My question is, Final Fantasy VII. Is it truly still relevant, and can it appeal to a general audience now, in 2015? And the reason why I think this is an important question, and, you know, we gotta wonder, is a general audience who's never played the game before gonna still be accepting of it? Because the PC port of Final Fantasy VII is coming to the PS4, assumably this fall. I could be wrong about that, but soon.
And don't forget the remake.
Exactly. The newly announced, but ever so teased, remake of Final Fantasy VII coming to the PS4. But that's way off. Like, years off.
I don't know if you can really call it tease, though, because a few years ago, Square actually said they weren't going to do one until now. Like, It was only recently that they changed their mind.
That is true, but I was kind of referring to, you know, the whole tease with the PC port, and then there were some light rumors going into E3 about there being the Final Fantasy VII remake. But anyway, let's try and hop right into our topic. You start us off, man.
Should I start off with describing the game, or should I just, go ahead and start saying yes it is, or no it isn't relevant?
Just jump right in, give us a cold hard answer. Do you think a general audience would be accepting of the game now?
I can't say that a general audience would. Unfortunately, 7, one of its biggest factors that led to its amazing reception was the shock and awe factor of them doing something that had never been done in a game before, especially in RPG, with the death of Aerith, which, spoiler alerts, but if you don't know what the hell happened, well, you're the saddest excuse for a gamer I've ever heard.
May I jump in and just say, I thought that the thing that had never been done was a blonde man cross-dressing in a video game.
That is a big one. They really didn't shy away from hitting hard new things with 7. And that was a lot of what made it what was so amazing and why people took it in so quickly. And they had done things with storytelling that hadn't been done in games up to that point. Like killing a main character, having the character cross-dress, being rather open to the idea of homosexuality even at that early stages, and things like that. And so, it was the most real fantasy RPG that had been coming out. And to a general audience with as much exposure to doing all these big shock value gimmicks that have been showing up in games recently, I can't say that a general audience would be very appealed to the story elements, nor do I think that they'd be appealed to the gameplay, since a general audience is now very focused on the shooter, the next quick game, the next big multiplayer experience. And with that, solo gameplay is really for the people who want that experience specifically.
That is a really good point. Very well said. Now, say for the people who kind of casually play RPGs nowadays, say they might play their Persona 4 or their Tales of, whatever is on their corresponding console or platform, would say that appeal to someone who hasn't played those older Final Fantasy games, say someone who hasn't played anything newer than 10?
If
only has played things newer than 10. I mean,
if that's the case, then that is really a definite one for someone who's a little more avid for an RPG. Because to go back and see that history of the evolution is a beautiful thing, especially if it's already a genre that you enjoy. If the furthest back thing you've played is 10, then go back and play 7. It shows you where 10 evolved from. Hell, it was the game that led up to 10.
well, I suppose you could say that. Now, say for someone who, as you said, is more of the kind of avid, fantasy, or not fantasy, but RPG, JRPG fan, say someone around our age, say, high school to college age nowadays, when they want to kind of experience that history, why should they try and go back and play Final Fantasy VII rather than, say, something like Suikoden or insert PS1 RPG here?
Well, with the case of things like that, Final Fantasy VII was kind of the staple in fantasy storytelling to the most relevant course. And Final Fantasy VII really just emphasized the strategy, learn your characters, learn their strengths, learn enemy weaknesses, and focus, which was a key point for all Final Fantasies. But 7 really took it to where even a player who wasn't very avid to the RPG back in the day could play it, and they had a game that lasted them for a long time that they could sit there and, leisurely play and hopefully be able to pick back up again every time that they sat back down. So it's a very good game for both people who want to be kind of casual, slow to play it, and experience the history of the RPG's evolution. And it's also good for the people who just want to sit down and play through a good RPG, because the story is always the biggest, most important thing when you try and create an RPG, because that is what creates the true atmosphere of an RPG. And you definitely become immersed in this corrupt, Earth-like, civilized world that is slowly killing itself, and you realize your true calling to be that savior, to stop disaster if you can, and that's the simple run of the story. And it definitely just does the best way of telling that story I think is possible.
Now, how would you say the pacing is of telling that story? Like, with that story that you just kind of described, how active is it to tell you that? Like, say if I wanted to sit down and just experience the story, would I be able to do that easily without having to stray off of that story, or have to go fight wolves in a magical star-filled land, or whatever it is they would have me doing in Final Fantasy VII?
In Final Fantasy VII, they start you off right in the heat of it. They tell you about Avalanche, which is this activist group, and they tell you what they're trying to do, which is to try and stop Shinra, this big electrical power company, from suffocating the world ultimately. And they just drop you right in there, tell you what's going on with the sorry, I had a burp. What's going on with the world, what's led up to the events that you're now there to help. And it doesn't take long for it to tell you the story, but to get some of the more backstory that makes the characters, it eases you into each character and how their story ended them up where they are now. So the main story comes out quick, but the backstories and to learn the characters comes out a little bit slower. And they always just keep kind of pushing you along towards that end goal, but they never make you feel stuck like most current RPGs do, where they feel like they're really trying to push you one direction the entire time.
That is a good point. So, another question I have is, say you said that they don't let you feel stuck in the game. Does it actively keep you, you know what you're supposed to do, you kind of know the flow of where and what you're supposed to do at all times, and are you able to easily kind of achieve that?
They do a little bit more of a read between the line kind of thing for that. They do tell you where you need to go, but they don't quite tell you how to get there, which allows you to just go exploring until you end up where you're supposed to be, which is a pretty nice little thing.
I mean, that definitely can be for some people. Like, you know, if a game resonates well with me, you know, I love, you know, exploring the environment and whatnot. But if it doesn't settle well with me, you know, I can't stand not knowing where I'm supposed to go, and, you know, I just want to be there and get done with it. And that's what I'm afraid of, honestly, with me personally playing Final Fantasy VII, is I know I will try and, you know, really give it a try whenever the PC port comes out on PS4. But in the past, I've tried playing it, like, for instance, your PSN copy on PS3, the PS1 version just ported to PS3. I've tried playing that, but I couldn't play it for more than, honestly, an hour or two without really kind of... It just didn't settle well with me, I guess is what you would say. Do you think that that would truly appeal to someone like me if I really tried to play it longer?
Well, this goes back to your first question and it towards a general audience. People like you who aren't really very, you know, avidly wanting that RPG experience, who are just kind of wanting a game that they can sit down and play, I can't say Final Fantasy VII would be good for that player. Just because it seems that's where the big line is between RPG players and your more, I guess, general player. Is RPG players are usually a bit more patient to let the game advance, while your general player is wanting a game to start going faster. They want the game to show them where they have to go and to get there in the most timely manner possible.
Yeah.
So to answer the "is it for you" question, I'd probably say no.
Well, see, that is kind of the conclusion that I've come to, is it seems like no matter how much I try, I doubt I'd actually be able to play through the whole game. But I do personally enjoy, like, the spin-offs of Final Fantasy VII. Confession, Internet, I like Advent Children, and, you know, so does Zero here. And, you know, I enjoyed Crisis Core. Never got to finish it, but I enjoyed Crisis Core. But I was, you know, significantly younger when I played that.
Hey, remember when we used to play Dirge?
Oh, yes.
Dirge of Cerberus?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was a fun spin-off.
And nowadays, I would love to go back through that and kind of try and play it myself. You know, because I was a youngster. I was a little kiddo there. I really just watched you play it. I don't think I ever played more than the tutorial myself. But I remember it being a very awesome game. But going back to what you said, with someone who doesn't actively try to, you know, find that RPG experience, you know, with Final Fantasy VII not resonating with them, what I've kind of found with myself personally is lately I have been personally just trying to seek out an RPG that's, you know, right for me. And I think I've settled with the Persona series. You know, I'm in love with Persona 4. I have been for around a year now. And now
you know
I'm
how you know how I am with Persona. I mean,
yeah, which...
I beat that in what, like an eighth of the time you did?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I haven't finished it yet. I still have a little ways to go. Not too far, but I'm getting close to the end. But yeah, you're just able to blast through a game like that. I'm really not able to do that. But with Persona 4, like, I've really enjoyed it. I've played it for a little over a year now, but I'm finally kind of getting to the end of that. And I'm thinking both, okay, what's my next RPG going to be? That and okay, I'm ready to go pre-order Persona 4 Dancing All Night Disco Fever Edition, but that's just me, you know. I'm ready to dive into those characters, but like trying to find my next RPG to play, like looking back at what I've played, you know, the RPGs, the only JRPG, like traditional turn-based JRPG I can think of that I've played to completion is, internet, don't hate me, Naruto Path of the Ninja, when I was much younger.
Well, that's one of those things. Is Persona and the Naruto Path of the Ninja game that you played are a little more casual for an RPG player, which is I would actually recommend for you. Uh, a friend's letting me borrow Star Ocean currently,
Mm-hmm.
Star Ocean Last Hope, and I think that it would be a very good game for you to try. I also think that you might actually enjoy possibly one of the Tales games.
Now, I have thought about the Tales games, and now I've tried to play Tales of Exilia, I believe it was. I genuinely tried, just couldn't. It lost me so fast. And then I have a copy of Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World sitting on my shelf that I bought at a yard sale for super cheap. Played the first 15 minutes of it thinking, okay, cool, I'm gonna play this game more tomorrow, but it was like, you know, like midnight when I finally got around to booting it up. I was thinking, hey, I'm gonna play this game tomorrow. Well, tomorrow was kind of a year ago. And
uh,
no, I have not played it again.
okay. That is one issue that comes up with a lot of the more casual RPGs. I think comes in the form of they're not quite as immersive, and you kind of have to force yourself a little bit to get more into them.
Hmm.
Unlike Persona, which drops you and it makes you already familiar with your character because hey, it's you. You get to make your choices. It's you. You're in the game. And that's one thing that makes Persona trump a lot of the other more casual RPGs. But with the Tales games, they give you distinct characters and they drop you into a world, and they don't really give you that strong of a here's what the point is and here's some more immersive things so you can love the characters. It's really a read between the lines and look around kind of game, as far as what I've experienced. The better game is definitely, I believe, Tales of Vesperia is my favorite that I've played so far.
And isn't that only available on the Xbox 360?
As far as I know, yeah. I played it at a friend's house, and I loved it when I finally got into it.
Mm. And I know there's like Tales of Hearts R, which, you know, as the Vita enthusiast I am, I've looked at it, you know, doesn't appeal to me. Then that Tales of Zestiria is coming out later this year. Has a cool collector's edition that caught my eye, but still, I don't know that I can really get into a Tales game. But you do make an excellent point on, you know, just Tales and kind of that casual RPG. It's hard to find what truly appeals to the general gamer who would look at one of these games. But then again, a lot of the, you know, average gamer isn't going to be too fond of the anime tropes that you would find in, you know, a Tales game or Persona. You know, you just kind of pick and choose. I feel that Persona is a little more accessible.
I won't argue with that, but it's looking like we're coming pretty close to our time constraint. So I think it's
Uh,
time that we just round this out.
yeah, so I suppose as a whole, we're saying, or what would you say about Final Fantasy VII? Would say Joe Schmo, the guy who has, say, 5 to 10 PS4 games he plays. He plays his Call of Duty. He plays, you know, like The Last of Us, kind of stuff like that. Do you think it would be? Do you think it would truly capture just the average gamer when it comes out on PS4?
I do not. If you want to play Final Fantasy VII, if you want to get into one of the older RPGs, I personally think you have to already have kind of a want to get into them. And I'd say if you're wanting a Final Fantasy, start with the 10 and 10.2 HDs.
All right, that actually is a good point, because that actually also is available on PS4 as of a couple months ago, or a month or two ago. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But definitely easy to pick up. And you know, Final Fantasy X, that's a whole nother bag of worms for a whole nother episode if you guys would like to hear us ramble about Final Fantasy X. But I think that's longer than a 20-minute podcast, because okay, that's the thing, is he has played it, but I have some stories. I have some stories of stories, because that's what that game was to me. It was a story that, you know, Zero told me about. So anyway, I believe this has been the first episode of Zero Ninja Talks. Now, if you enjoyed this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click that like button. Let us know if you want to hear more. Also, we might make this a video thing. Maybe eventually, kind of, sort of, probably not, but it might be coming to your face in the future. So definitely support that if you're fond of this, and suggest topics you would like us to go over in future episodes.
I got an idea. How about we say we'll talk next about Jak and Daxter or Call of Duty.
Oh, and have people vote on it?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. Do you want to literally go with those two topics?
I have no idea. People suggest whatever you want, but I looked over and I saw Jak and Daxter, and I'm like, how about that?
Well, actually, maybe. You know what? I actually have a topic. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to either suggest your own topic, tell us if you'd like us to talk about the Ratchet and Clank series as a whole and the upcoming reboot and movie, or if you'd like us to talk about, say, what's a thing? Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and its zombie reveals. Spoiler alert, if the collector's edition's available, you'll be able to walk in a GameStop and buy appliances. And by appliances, I mean a mini fridge. That's what's up. Anyway, Zero, would you like to give some closing statements to this here podcast?
I'll just say, have a great day, guys. Like and subscribe.
We already said that.
I know.
I love you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening.
See ya.